Greetings everybody, great to be with you on the JB Motorsport broadcast of FIA Formula 2 from Spa-Francorchamps, the 9th weekend in the 2025 campaign. Richard Verschoor leading the championship by 6 points in front of Jack Crawford, with Alex Dunn, Leo Fornaroli, Luke Browning and Arvid Lindblad giving chase. And where better to pick up the battle than at Spa-Francorchamps. 4.35 miles and 7 kilometers of some of the most daring-do motorsports circuit in the world. A 1 minute 59.0 lap record to beat, that of Paul Aron. No longer, of course, competing in FIA Formula 2, but there's a whole cast of spectacular drivers to try and take on the onslaught. Leaving Spa, the championship leader carries all of the momentum into the second half of the season as we now get ourselves into the business end of FIA Formula 2. And for Oliver Goethe on pole position, the pressure is ready to bubble over. Hello everybody, Jake Sanson here for JB Motorsport, live in the comms box position alongside Omi, who's going to be giving us all of the patter and chatter on the FIA Formula 2 broadcast. This is an interesting one, not just because of the battle in the championship, but with Goethe and Cordeal on the front row of the grid, Omi, this could be fireworks into La Source.
Yep, we had qualifying yesterday, and the sprint race sees a reversed order, and it puts different drivers with opportunities. Leonardo Fornaroli going from third. He, of course, was the race winner at Silverstone, winning his first race in nearly 1,500 days. His first race win since Italian F4 he managed at Silverstone last time out, so he's got a lot of momentum, and he wants to make it back-to-back sprint race wins.
And let's not forget that he was the FIA Formula 3 champion of last year, despite not taking a single race victory. So there's a lot of opportunities for him to put a record or two straight over the course of his maiden Formula 2 campaign. So many drivers taking on their first Formula 2 campaign this season with big opportunities, but the 20-year-old from Piacenza in Emilia-Romagna with a good opportunity to continue that bandwagon rolling. Here is the starting grid for this race. From the back row, it is Ian Shields and Josh Dirksen making progress for the Emirati Ikes Racing team based up the Burj Khalifa. Kushmaini, P20, and Sami Megatunith, 19th on the grid for Trident. Plenty of progress for him to make up. Rafael Villagomez, the Mexican, alongside the iRacer, Max Esterson, the leading man for Trident here this weekend so far. Sebastian Montoya lining up alongside the British driver John Bennett for Van Amersfoort. Then on the 7th row of the starting grid, P14 for Jack Crawford, alongside the Super Swede Dino Beganovic, still making headway in his maiden F2 season. Luke Browning just a whisker ahead of him in 12th on the grid, disappointed disappointed after quali. Richard Verschoor, championship leader, back in 11th place. Alex Dunn really hoping to go wheel to wheel with Ritamo Miata into turn 1, still hoping for that shining spark after his Super Formula title 2 years ago. Gabriele Mini alongside Roman Stanek, two drivers who really want to put on a show here at Spa-Francorchamps. P6 on the grid for Victor Martin alongside the Englishman Arvid Lindblad. Could he be Red Bull's next boy wonder in Formula 1? Pepe Marti wants to prove him wrong. 4th on the grid alongside Leonardo Fornaroli, the newest winner in Formula 2. And then the front row of the grid, Amaury Cordial versus Oliver Goethe. This could be a really impressive race start. And let's not forget, of course, that there is extra meat into this battle up at the front end of the field, Omi, because for Amaury Cordial, he's on the front row of the grid on home soil. Okay, he's a Flanders Belgian, but he still wants to win in his home nation.
He absolutely does, and it would be a first ever victory in FIA Formula 2 in what is now his 4th season. So it would be a big accolade if he is able to reach it. Oliver Goethe will want to get himself to the top step, and we've of course also got Marty and Lindblad, the two Campos drivers, starting together as you mentioned in 4th and 5th, and they will be quite interesting to see what they can do. Alex Dunn has been in all sorts of trouble in certain races, and then it's been glory in others. So he's going to hope for a calm day today, but a calm day with quite a lot of overtaking, and the Spa circuit in Formula 2 promotes overtaking quite a bit, as we've seen over the years.
If you've got any comments or suggestions or any recommendations or perhaps suggestions as to what you think drivers are going to do over the course of this sprint race, then do please drop them in the chat box to us. We'd love to pick up on some of your chats. I'm a very interactive person by nature when it comes to the comms box. We'd love to hear what you guys have to say. There is Leonardo Fornaroli, 3rd on the grid, riding the crest of the wave after his victory at Silverstone in very difficult conditions. Great to see what the Italian stallion has done. Let's hear from him. It looks like we're not going to hear from him. My apologies. I don't think we have audio on the world feed on this occasion, but we will still give you all of the updates as they happen through this Formula 2 race. Of course, if you're watching along with us on our YouTube stream, you'll be able to keep up to date with everything on the timing screen. And of course, we've also got race direction up there as well. Omi, predictions for this one. Does Amaury Cordial have what it takes to leapfrog into first position at turn 1, or is it going to be stern stuff that our man at the top spot is made of?
It's Formula 2, very difficult to make some predictions, but here we go, then let's have a go at this. Amaury Cordial, I feel like sometimes when he does start at the front, he can find himself going backwards at start, so possibly not the best starter at times, but he'll try and amend that, he'll try and change that, and it will depend on what Oli Goethe manages off the line as well. It can go quite different, but let's keep an eye on Fornaroli and Martin. I think they could be quite interesting to watch. However, I do feel like Victor Martins, he's had some great qualifying this year, and I feel like he might have a go today at just making his way up to the field and could have a shot in this specific Formula 2 race.
Yeah, 4th in qualifying for Victor Martins. It does sort of give us an indication that he's going to be towards the sharp end from the outset. One man my mind is on for this one, Ritamo Miata, 2nd in qualifying, just in behind Alex Dunn, finally starting to knock on that promise that he showed us in the 2023 Super Formula season. Don't forget, he was neck and neck in the head-to-head with Tomoka Najiri and Liam Lawson in that championship fight. So Ritamo Miata's pedigree certainly not up for questioning. Here is the man in P4 in qualifying and P6 on the grid for this sprint race, Victor Martin, looking to move his way further forward, hoping for a very strong start. Championship standings, Verschoor 6 ahead of Crawford, then Dunn, Fornaroli, Browning and Lindblad giving close chase. Sebastian Montoya creeping up the order, and Pepe Marti there in 8th position in the standings as well. Big points on offer, of course, across the 2 races in Formula 2. You want to put on a good show. You're in front of the championship team principals in Formula 1. There are the 2 Ike's racing cars, based, as I mentioned, on the 118th floor of the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. Very impressive how Ike's Racing has got themselves into the world of Formula 2 of late. But of course, their 2 drivers need to make progress. Dirksen and Shields from the back row of the grid. The green flags the back. The 5 lights will come on, and it's time to go racing in FIA Formula 2. Let's race at Spa-Francorchamps, and it's a great start from pole position from Goethe, but Fornaroli has stormed away from P2 on the grid, on the second row, sorry, into the inside line. It's going to be Campos on Campos as they work their way through. Nice launch from Fornaroli, who's charging away, and there's contact further back. There's 2 carts already in the background in the gravel trap, and it's 2 races over. We could go safety car very early doors here. FIA F3 was amazing earlier on, but it looks as though the drama has already kicked on in F2. Big accident on the run up to Eau Rouge.
Absolutely, I think it was contact for Crawford at La Source as well. He's one of the drivers involved, but there was further contact, as you mentioned, at Eau Rouge, and we've got the virtual safety car deployed on the opening tour.
Oh, it's Richard Verschaw. It's championship leader Verschaw who lost it on the way up to Radiol. So he's one of the drivers collected in the incident. I don't know if he's the only one. That's Luke Browning. Luke Browning, the British driver, out of the race at the first corner after a contact with another driver there. Couldn't see who it was that went with him. But we are under VSC, and Fornaroli, after the most spectacular of race starts from the second row, has got into the lead. And I would not be too surprised, Omi, if we do not get a challenger to him.
Yeah, absolutely. We mentioned Fornaroli, full of momentum, carrying it over into this round as well. But now Verschaw, big disappointment for him as he tries to make it back into the pit lane. But it was Browning who connected with Crawford. That happened at the back. We are still trying to work out whether Crawford was able to get back going, but I think he was the car clattering into the side. But Browning 100%, his day is unfortunately over, and that's such a disappointment for him as we go back and look at this race start once more.
Yeah, the man who won the Macau Grand Prix at the end of last year and, of course, was leading the F2 Championship earlier. Look at Fornaroli's start. Absolutely charging into turn 1. No worries at all as he storms in. But look in the background. We're going to see the conflagration. There it is. Browning and Crawford. They were actually assisted by the MP. It was the MP that was on the right side. Browning got squeezed in the middle. Look at this. As they come through again, you can see, look, Browning was basically used as a pinball.
Yeah, and now this full course safety car is deployed, so it has been upgraded. So we're going to get the safety car out, but it was Verschaw who was making contact, and that is Verschaw and Crawford as well, both involved in that one as we mentioned. So our top 2 in the championship, Jake Sanson.
Can't believe that the first 2 men... Oh, look, he got contact from behind. That's how Verschaw spun. He got a little bit of a nudge. I think it was traveling a little bit sluggishly because of damage. Let's see what happens. No, he lost it on his own. Verschaw lost it on his own. That's got to be a legacy of the damage inflicted then from the contact with Luke Browning. So he lost it completely on his own. How did everybody avoid him? That is absolutely extraordinary reactions from the field as the championship leader, Richard Verschaw, somehow avoided by everybody.
Yeah, that is remarkable. And of course, the barriers have been pushed back. But still, it's so tricky as well heading into Eau Rouge as we go back to Fornaroli. But yeah, you never want to have a car going sideways at Eau Rouge. But Fornaroli, he just got on with it, got the inside line, took the apex, got on with the race as it was all contact behind. There's Jack Crawford, and as we mentioned, safety car is out, so everyone will have to now go behind the safety car, and we'll get a restart coming our way with Fornaroli, Cordial and Goethe.
Yeah, virtual safety car becomes FIA safety car now as Richard Verschaw has made his way down pit lane following Crawford. Unfortunately, we don't have any of the audio live feed, but Verschaw being told, do you have damage in the side pod? Yeah, there's oil leaks. That's why I spun. So he's going to be out of this race, I'm sure. There's the scrub of the Pirelli writing gone completely from the side of the wheel rim of the car, and there's definite contact with the side pods. Richard Verschaw is getting out. He knows he's got a car that he doesn't feel safe in anymore with the oil leak coming from the underside of the car. So the 2 championship leaders are not going to score any points here, Omi.
Yep, absolute drama. And now it opens the door for Alex Dunn. Now, he might be running in 9th, but he's got to get on with it. We're going to get the cars through the pit lane, by the way. They're going to take them through the pit lane just to avoid some of the mess that's going on into Les Source and all of the recovery that's going on there. But Alex Dunn, currently P9, top 8 scorer in a Formula 2 sprint race. So he is 1 position away from getting himself in there, and basically then he's 3rd in the championship, so he's got a chance to try and capitalize and gain as many points as possible. It's going to be a long Formula 2 sprint race, but he has to keep his nose clean and capitalize on any chaos that might happen ahead.
Yeah, he can't get into second in the championship, but he can get 2 points off the back of Crawford's tally. So this is such an opportunity here for Leonardo Fornaroli. The man who won the FIA Formula 3 championship title by not winning a single race is going to get 2 in his first F2 rookie season if he keeps this going. But he's got a fired-up Amaury Cordeel, who I have to say, very impressed with his start. He actually made good use of the opportunity there. So, good work. Marty says there were 2 accidents, one in the exit of turn 1 and the other one after Eau Rouge. Well, yes, that is correct. Marty just asking, is everyone okay? And they say, yes, I think so. So that is good news that we didn't have a single bit of contact after the initial spin from Richard Verschoor. Amazed how everybody had the lightning reactions there to not get involved in the melee. But Fornaroli is your leader. Cordeel, Goethe, Martin, Marty, Lindblad, Mini, and Miata, who, again, I've got to keep an eye on him for this weekend. He's got a great chance. Let's look at the start again, and we'll watch the second row of the grid. Fornaroli just absolutely nails the start. Goethe doesn't get a particularly good one, nor does Cordeel, and that's what gives Fornaroli that little bit of impetus as they run through. But, yeah, Verschoor and Crawford basically sandwiching Browning. Nothing Browning could have done.
And they...
Yeah, absolutely nothing that he could have done in the background as well. So off the line we go with Verschoor. It looks like he's now trying to find his way through. He's got Miata as well to the side. You've got Roman Stanek ahead. There's Alex Dunn as well making his way by. And then we're just going to get Crawford and Browning on the outside of us. And then we're going to get to contact. And opening lap, the source, it always tightens up. So you can get to contact there. But then this is going to be the moment where we throw it into Eau Rouge. There goes Paganovic, he overtakes. And then Verschoor is just going to see the car go round. And that's a terrible position to be in when you know the whole field's coming at you. But luckily, everyone was able to avoid.
That is so scary when you lose it in Eau Rouge. Luke Browning able to jump over the wall and make sure that he stays out of harm's way. But not the way you want to end your race, especially when you know that Crawford and Verschoor are not going to score points. That could have been a chance for Browning to get some decent points on the board there. And unfortunately, he's not going to score any. Verschoor's not going to score any. And it's a very unlikely thing that Crawford will get any now as well. So a lot of the big hitters are not going to take any points away from this at all.
Yep. We look now to the site of the safety car ending, so we're getting ready to go back racing. Jake Sanson's getting prepared for that line to come our way in a few moments time as well. But it's Fornaroli, Cordeel, Goethe, Martins and Marty. Let's see what the Camposes can do there, 5th and 6th. Let's see whether they can attack. And I mentioned keep an eye on Martins, he's right now 4th.
Yeah, this race is going to come down to how aggressive Amaury Cordeel can find himself at the start. He wants to make sure that he is completely on Fornaroli's gearbox by the time they get down the end of the Kemmel Straight. Fornaroli's still weaving, everybody else ready for the charge forward. Victor Martin just steadying behind Goethe, watching for his opportunity. Now Fornaroli's gone for it, and this could be the opportunity now. Cordeel needs to stay hungry on the way towards the bus stop. Fornaroli's got a bit of daylight between himself and the second place man, but that could all disappear by the time they get down to Eau Rouge. So as they charge their way through the bus stop, not a bad restart here from Fornaroli. He's got a bit of daylight, but as they come across the line, once again here at Spa-Francorchamps in FIA Formula 2 Sprint, it's green, 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 and Fornaroli up towards the first corner, in towards La Source. A big dive on the inside. That's going to be a brave opportunity from the man in 5th position. Marty trying to get his move there on Goethe, who's already lost ground. So Goethe trying his best, but a fantastic start already as the drivers work their way up the hill. Again, a little puff of smoke coming off the cars. That's just the little bit of conflagration they get as they work their way forward. Goethe's got Cordeel on the ropes as they go down the straight. Cordeel with his chance. This could be an opportunity as he moved his way forward, and he's not going to get there. Lindblad had a little bit of a sniff at Marty into turn 1. As up the inside, that's done. He gets the move on Miata.
Yep, gets it done. Superb stuff there as well. I think our end plate went missing somewhere in the background on that restart when we were making our way towards the bus stop chicane. So that's quite interesting. Yellow flags are out on the circuit. So there's definitely some issues for someone out there around this venue, unfortunately, at the moment.
So with one yellow flag incident needing to be sorted, it's not being cleared anytime soon. Now it has cleared, so clearly a spin and then a recovery. We're going to try and see what happened on this restart again. This is going to be...
There we go. There's the end plate. It goes missing.
Yeah, it did indeed. That was Marty's car, wasn't it? So Marty's end plate falling off the car. Well done to that marshal for getting back onto the circuit and recovering it before they come back out through Blanchimont and up to the bus stop chicane again. But Marty's going to have so many difficulties now because that left front end plate is going to cause him no end of difficulties. The absence of it will seriously be felt in some of these faster straights. Here comes Arvid Lindblad, the Macau F4 race winner of 2023 and the reigning Formula Regional Oceania champion. All over the back of Marty as he comes up to the bus stop chicane. He's going to try and put pressure on his Campos teammate.
Yeah, they arrive to the bus stop chicane, and Lindblad, who's of course up against his more experienced teammate, a second-timer, Pepe Marti at the moment, while Arvid Lindblad is trying his absolute best in his rookie season and became the youngest ever winner in Formula 2 earlier this year. He's going to get a chance as he rotates his way through La Source, and then it's going to be all-out push down towards Rugen Radion and the Kemmel Straight to see who can make an overtake. Cordial will be too far back, but he's still inside the 1 second critically. Dun going on the attack, and he's trying to take 7th away from Gabriele Mignini, but we ride on board with Lindblad, who will be trying to get closer and closer to his Campos teammate.
Let's not forget, this is the young man who was under the tutelage of Oliver Rowland, the man who's just become FIA Formula E World Champion. Up the inside, Ritmo Miata is about to lose ground round the outside to Roman Stanek. Stanek round the outside at Les Combes. Very nicely handled there from the Czech. Manages to get his run on the Japanese talent. So Ritmo Miata not able to deal with Roman Stanek on that occasion. Still not quite gelling with this F2 car. I've always felt that for Ritmo Miata, this has been a step down for him to come out of the world of Super Formula into FIA Formula 2. But he is trying to handle it as best as he possibly can. On board with Alex Dunn, the Irishman from Offaly, hoping to make his way on the inside of Gabriele Mini, who in turn is trying to line up Arvid Lindblad. 3 drivers that crossed swords many a time on the karting circuits in their European youth. Now they are working it together in Formula 2. It's going to be interesting to see if Dunn can get a run here, and back on board with Lindblad, rear-facing camera back towards the Alpine pink of Gabriele Mini for the Prema team as he charges up the hill, hoping for another chance.
Mini and Dun, the 2 drivers who made contact in the sprint at Silverstone, will be trying to avoid that hit today, as Vashon, Browning and Crawford has been noted for a turn 1 incident that they had to start our Formula 2 sprint race. We arrived down at the bus stop chicane. Dun is looking very, very close onto the back, but they're all just closing in right now. Marty, Lindblad, Mini and Dun for those final points. They're all together around this venue, and meanwhile Cordial really trying to get close now to Fornaroli, so there could even be a chance, because Cordial set the fastest lap of the race. He's doing incredibly well at the moment, is the Belgian driver on home soil.
Looks as though Browning may be getting an investigation from the officials for crossing the track back to the pits on foot. That's why we saw it in replay. You should really have waited for the officials. So Fornaroli, Cordial and Goethe. Watch for Cordial on this lap. He's really going to try and make mincemeat of Fornaroli. He's close enough to really make an attack, but will he throw caution to the winds here on home soil? He's going to commit to his line on the far side. Fornaroli squeezing him. No way through on the inside line there at Les Combes, as meanwhile Mini is going wheel to wheel with Arvid Lindblad. Watch for a retaliation from Alex Dunn, the McLaren-backed racer for Rodin, hoping to get his move on the inside line. Hasn't been able to make it work so far, and so they work their way down the hill up through the next section of the course, what is sometimes known as Commentator's Corner, also known as Jackie X Corner. In through goes Alex Dunn, charging back on the power, listening in on his onboard, trying to get that little bit of extra run. Thank goodness we've got the World Feed audio back with us now, so we should be able to keep an ear out for radio messages if they come. But this is now a very intriguing battle, and Omri Cordial definitely looks fired up. I don't think Fornaroli's going to have it as easy as he'd like it.
Yeah, not as easy as we would have thought. Cordial will definitely give it his all. He'll try and maintain that DRS. Fornaroli has been noted for safety car infringement.
Well, what infringement would it have been? That's the interesting question now. But Fornaroli could end up with a penalty here for a safety car infringement. Now, all of his hard work could be undone, and that could hand Omri Cordial the lead of the race on home soil. I'm trying to remember the last time a Belgian would have won at home. Maybe Stoffel van Dorn? I'm not sure if he ever actually took a victory in FIA Formula 2 on home turf. We'll need to double check, but what an opportunity that is for Omri Cordial, if so.
Yeah, what a chance it would be for Omri Cordial, who is continuing on with Formula 2 in what is his 4th season. What a moment it would be after getting so close to a podium at the Red Bull Ring earlier on this season, but spinning on the last lap. Could he be on his way to possibly even grab a victory? His first podium, can it come with a first win? Meanwhile, we've got Gabriele Mini, all eyes on Arvid Lindblad ahead.
Here comes the chance for Mini. He's going to go to the far side because that's where Lindblad's going to send him. Lindblad going long on the brakes. He'll be hot in through the apex. Mini trying to use the more conventional line to go right round the outside. Lindblad chops across his bow, and Alex Dunn now has an opportunity to go for Gabriele Mini. Lindblad, far too much time spent in his mirrors for me. Dunn is going to send it on the inside of Mini. Mini's going to drift wide. He'll be on the marbles. Dunn's got to commit, but Mini will still have the inside line for the next apex on the left. So that's nicely handled there from both men.
Nice stuff there. Dunn going for it, but Mini having the answer for the moment. But these three not separated by anything. Of course, Mini and Lindblad, both teammates in Prema in Formula 3 last year as well. Now they both drive for different teams. Mini still part of Prema, of course. Lindblad, being a Red Bull Junior, has gone over to the Campos outfit as we make our way through. And Alex Dunn just absolutely trying his best to gain positions. He knows there's an opportunity today to capitalize, as meanwhile that is not the side that Kushmani would have wanted. He finds himself in the pit lane and most likely out of this race.
Yeah, disappointment for Kushmani, who's retired from this race now. That means that both of the members of that squad are way down at the back end of the field. Crawford unlikely to score. Maini out of the race to join Verschoor and Browning on the sidelines. Now it's Gabriele Mini putting pressure on Arvid Lindblad while sustaining the pressure from Alex Dunn behind him. This is exactly what we talked about, though, isn't it? We're waiting for all these nail-biting overtaking moves, and it's turning into a bit of a stalemate in the junior formulas. Spa-Francorchamps definitely becoming a driver's circuit, a little bit more perhaps than a racer's circuit, Omi. We haven't seen too many nail-biting maneuvers in FIA Formula 3. We saw a few, but in FIA Formula 2, this is in danger of becoming a procession.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's not what the championship believes in at all. It is always action, it is always amazing racing from every circuit that we go to, so it's not what we want, but can we now change that, as Victor Martins had a look on Ollie Goethe, can't get there. Meanwhile, further back, they will all just maintain single file for the moment and continue their push as well, saving those Pirelli rubbers for later on in the contest. But Martins looking to try and see whether a podium is possible, and he's got Ollie Goethe in his sight at the moment as they navigate their way through this middle sector. Let's hear from Goethe.
Still getting track limits. He's doing track limits in the last corner. Got the ID, we're at the bottom.
Interesting. Ollie Goethe trying to see if Omri Cordial can be caught out. No further action for Leonardo Fornaroli. Meanwhile, Oliver Goethe, that is the save of the season at the top of Radion. How did Oliver Goethe save that? Absolutely incredible. You are on the limit of adhesion at the top of Radion, and somehow he caught that in majestic fashion. But there's a lot of vibration coming from that left side of his car. I wonder if that's really taken a bit of a punishment as a result of that half power slide up the hill. Incredible how he was able to sustain that. Right, here comes Alex Dunn. He's back for more on Gabriele Mini. Got to try and get close to him. He's firing up an opportunity, maybe into the bus stop. He could send this to the inside line. He's going to have to be brave, but Mini was just able to move a wheel across the racing line to stop any temptation from Alex Dunn. Now they're going to come off the turn. Dunn just a little bit loose as he comes back onto the main straight. And we're on lap 9 of 18.
Yes, absolutely. Here we go then. It's all about setting the move up. We mentioned it so many times in the Formula 1 sprint race. It's all about setting it up to give yourself an opportunity, and I think Martins will get said opportunity now. In a few moments, we go through Aruj and Radion. He's closing in all the way as Goethe gets all out of shape. Now it's stand on the power. Now it's going to be rear wing open, and the Williams Junior attacking the Red Bull Junior down towards Lecombe.
Is this going to be a simple slam dunk maneuver? Martin, no worries at all getting past Goethe. I think Goethe's really struggling on tyres now as Victor Martins takes advantage of the second slip up at the top of Radion in as many laps for Oliver Goethe. And that is Martin through into third position. No worries at all for the Frenchman. So it's now Leonardo Fornaroli leading from Amaury Cordial, and Victor Martin doing a very steady job here in third position, trying to make more headway. Goethe, P4 in front of Marti, Lindblad, Mini, Dunn, Stanek and Miata.
That is your order at the moment as they go through Poo on corner. Let's hear from Fornaroli.
My tires already.
Interesting. So it's going to be a long contest. We know this sprint race still has a lot to give, but some drivers could possibly have the momentum to try and come back. We've seen lead changes late here. We saw it on the penultimate lap of the race, of course, in 2023 as Fittipaldi took his first win in Formula 2. He took it away from Vasseur that day. And we've also, of course, had Yuki Tsunoda up against Mazepin around this circuit. So there's been quite a lot that has gone right to the end around this circuit in Formula 2. I'm hoping for a bit more of that. Is Cordial going to be able to fight back up against Fornaroli, or what else is going to happen? Can Dun try get himself some higher points, because this looks like the main story of the race so far, this battle that is so close and eventually is going to be boiling over, and eventually they are going to start going side by side.
Seen this many times this year, haven't we? Alex Dutton getting himself into some tasty battles around the circuit, but at Spa-Francorchamps in particular, he'll really want to put on a big display. This is the kind of circuit that really sticks in the mind of a driver as Gabriele Mini kicks up the gravel as he goes out of La Source on the run down towards Eau Rouge. They'll fire up the hill, and at the top of the crest, they'll reach the Raidillon apex, and that's enough for them to start thinking about a big charge down the Camel Straight. Done getting closer to Gabriele Mini. He'll have a good run on the slipstream. He'll get his opportunity now to charge further forward. Mini knows that Alex Dunn is going to be there at the braking zone, so he moves the car slightly across to cover it, and there's not really a lot that Alex Dunn is able to do in the end to get ahead of Gabriele Mini. He's got to wait. Half of the race done, another 9 laps left in it.
Still plenty to go, still plenty to happen at the moment, but you can see Alex Dunn biding his time. He knows what has happened over the last few rounds, doesn't want it to be the case once more, so he's trying to see where a proper opportunity is. But if there is a clear dive bomb, he absolutely is going to go for it as well. Miney, by the way, is back in the race, but he's 3 laps down, so they'll just be doing some running and getting some more data ahead of our feature race tomorrow as well, which will award Grand Prix Sunday points, the same points that you see handed out in Formula 1.
So does Fornaroli have what it takes to keep ahead of the Belgian Amaury Cordial? It's even more important for Cordial to stay focused now. He may well have been told that Fornaroli's investigation came to nothing for his safety car infringement or whatever it was that was being investigated. No further action is being taken, so Fornaroli will not get a penalty for whatever he is deemed to have been investigated for. So Cordial has now got to get the hammer down, find the work in his car, find the tyre management to stay on point with Leonardo Fornaroli, and then go for his move. But Victor Martin is getting dangerously close to Cordial. This could end up being a real headache for the Belgian. He does not want this lap or the next one to fall to Victor Martin. If that's the case, then your early race prediction, Omi, looking very positive. Victor Martin with a great shot at the victory.
Yeah, you can see that he's pushing on, but it's all about whether he will have the tyres come the end of this race. But he is a driver in his 3rd season of Formula 2, so he knows what he's doing, and he knows everything that you have to manage around this circuit. And he's, of course, had some bad luck around this place as well, especially qualifying last year where he spun and had to start at the back in both races. But today, he wants to avenge that all. He wants to get a good result by the end of today. Meanwhile, we're getting tight between Esterson and Megatuniv, the 2 Tridents.
This is going to be an interesting one up the inside. No worries at all to settle it out as Megatuniv gets ahead of his American teammate. Max Esterson has to give best and watch for the man in behind. There's an opportunity now as getting closer all the time. John Bennett fancies his chances to move forward, as of course does the man for the Ike's Racing team, Joshua Dirksen, having moved his way further forward. Right, Victor Martin closing in on Amaury Cordial, but he's got a lot of work still if he wants to overhaul him. This is not going to be interesting. Apparently, there are pockets of rain in the clouds overhead now at Spa-Francorchamps. If they start to hit various parts of the circuit, this race could take a very dramatic turn.
Yeah, a bit of a spicy switch up as well. Definitely could be coming our way and could lead to an interesting F1 qualifying that is also yet to come as well around this circuit. But now Martins, he's closing in as well with this toe that you'll be getting all the way through Blanchimont, and then you get down to the bus stop chicane and then it's all about setting it up. You'll use a bit of DRS, the dose of DRS you get down the straight to fully close in by the time you get down to the source, and then it's all about getting the best exit possible, and you'll be getting closer and closer to that road in motorsport driver as you try and take second place away. Into turn 1, he's super close. This is going to be a big opportunity if he can get a good exit here, which it looks like he has done, and now it's all going to be about tucking in behind and then going for the move down that kilometer straight.
Got to be working his magic here, through the left, through the right, up the crest, hoping for a little bit of push out of the rise. Not bad through Radio. Now he'll be able to engage his proper killer instinct attack down the camel straight. Where is Amaury Cordeel going to place him as he gets closer all the time? Cordeel going far side. If I'm Martins, I'm committing to that far side round the run. Cordeel trying everything to hold him back, and there's contact. Cordeel's gone into the gravel, and he's out of the race. Amaury Cordeel pushing too hard to keep Victor Martin back. I'm sorry, Amaury. You should have bailed out of that move once Victor Martin was more than a car's width alongside you. That was enough for me to bail out, and Amaury Cordeel has got no chance of a podium now, banging his steering wheel in frustration. He's got to be thinking himself there as the instigator of his own demise.
Yep, and that's what happens so many times.
Safety car.
Yeah, safety car's out once again. Let's take a look at it. Martins will go to the outside. He's just going to completely drive all the way around the outside. Cordeel should have backed off at that moment, but Martins and Cordeel make contact. Cordeel just trying his best to keep it in there, but sometimes you just have to accept those P3s.
Well, Cordeel's going to have a slight argument here to suggest that Martin didn't really leave him a lot of space, but yeah, I'm sorry. Martin's alongside you. You know that Victor's not going to compromise. If you're Amaury Cordeel, you leave a tiny bit more space than that. And I'm afraid that's him all over. Well, Victor Martin's believing that he crashed himself out of the race there. He doesn't feel that he's done anything wrong there at all. The safety car is there at La Sauce, ready to back this up and ready for what could well be a 3-lap sprint. Marty being told to pit from 4th position. So Pepe Marti having some difficulties by the look of it, and that of course comes from his front wing end plate being missing. Any chance then is well out of it. Now, the big question here is how many people are going to use this as an opportunity to put fresh tyres on for those last 4 laps. Look, there's a lot of them. A lot of drivers thinking, you know what, our tyres are dead. Let's put some fresh ones on. For these last 4 laps, we could make massive progress. A lot of teams choosing to do so. Miata's in, Stanek, done. Lindblad, Marty. Oh my word, it's half the field. I think only the top 5 left out there are not going to come in for new tyres.
Oh, well, it looked like it was going to be heading Fornaroli's way. Lindblad and Campos have had to double stack. So Lindblad's going to lose a couple of positions, and he'll hope that he can gain some back later on. Let's hope they've all been able to survive that, and they have. So no proper unsafe rejoins, which we saw at that moment. But yeah, it shields up to P5 at the moment. This one could completely change by the time we get down to the checker flag, and it usually does in FIA Formula 2.
Well, this is absolutely astonishing. The incident for Amaury Cordeel has now thrown caution to the winds. Amaury Cordeel throwing his hand in the air at Victor Martin. Let's look at it again from a higher angle. This could tell us a lot about what's going on. Oh, well, we're going to see what happened further back, actually. This is Gabriele Mini getting ahead of Marty. So that was just before the incident kicked off with Amaury Cordeel. And we're going to see a replay of Lindblad in pit lane. This is him double stacking in the Campos, I guess. So he comes in, he finds his pit bay already occupied. And is Arvid Lindblad going to be happy about that? Well, to be fair, that's one of the fastest Formula 2 tyre changes I have ever seen. Absolutely incredible from Campos. They knew they had to double stack, so fair play to them to get Arvid Lindblad out so quickly, or serviced so quickly when they already had a car in pit lane. Oh, done! So nearly collecting Ritmo Miata as they went out onto the circuit. Safety car in this lap, and we've only got 5 cars still out there on old tyres.
Yeah, indeed. Okay, safety car's ending, so we're getting back to the same procedure. This is going to be absolutely wild all the way till the end, like it was in Barcelona. If anyone remembers that ending in Spain, it could get very tasty.
Right, so the leader of the drivers that pitted is Pepe Marti.
Has to stop, so it might be tricky to the end.
There you go, Fornaroli being told that only a handful of cars behind him didn't stop. Here he goes again. This is what he got his investigation for last time. His safety car infringement. He's got to make sure that he doesn't give himself one this time. His only comfort here is that Martin, Goethe, Gabriele Mini, and Kian Shields all elected to stay out. Was it the right call? We're about to find out as Fornaroli charges forward. Martin's gone with him. That's really backfired for Fornaroli. That is not the restart the Italian wanted. Martin can't go for the move until La Source, but if he's looked after his tyres even fractionally better than the Italian stallion, he's going to have no hope in the first corner. They come off the final turn, and it's green, 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 green once again here at Spa-Francorchamps. Watch for Gabriele Mini. He'll make his first attempt at Oliver Goethe into La Source. Bails out of it last minute, overshoots, overcooks it in the first corner. Kian Shields fancying big points by staying out, but can the fresh tyre bandits make their way further forward? It's going to be amazing to see what happens for him. Lindblad down to 11th position, caught out by the double stack. Big wobble from Goethe as he comes up to Radion, and Gabriele Mini's going to make his big push now as they go down the Gemel straight, side by side. Gabriele Mini almost locking wheels with Oliver Goethe, and that's going to be enough surely to put the Italian in front, and it is.
Super move there for Gabriele Mini. He knew he had to be brave, and he was, as he took the final spot on the rostrum.
Marti's got shields. Pepe Marti's got shields. That's important because Pepe Marti is the first of the fresh tyre brigade, and diving up the inside, Stanek and Dunn are going to make the same move on Kian Shields. Staying out was not the call for the Ike's driver.
That's not what he wanted at all, so he risked it, but he's not going to get his reward. He's going to tumble all the way to the back once again. They went different, and it's not going to pay off, and now it's all going to be about Marti attacking Goethe, attacking Mini, attacking Martins and Fornaroli, and bringing the entire group with them as well. Let's look to the safety car restart and Arvid Lindblad.
Yeah, because if Kian Shields really struggles off this restart, then who else is going to struggle? As Lindblad goes for broke and contact! Oh dear, oh dear. You did get hit by Lindblad. Dino Beganovic complaining he's lucky he didn't get a puncture out of that. So this is going to be a tricky one. No further investigation for Martin and Cordeal. I agree with that completely. I'm afraid, Amory, you kind of did that to yourself, my friend.
Yeah, absolutely. Here we go then, as we have Crawford getting track limits and black and white flag. Meanwhile, we're going to see more overtakes heading into the bus stop chicane. This will be Lindblad getting past Shields, who's just going to be dropping positions and positions and positions. And Fornaroli's now got a 1.2 second gap over Martin, so Fornaroli's been able to pull away there.
Well, Kian Shields is plummeting like a stone on old tyres. What does that tell you about the rest of the drivers? There's a big dive up the inside of Stanek. That's aggressive from Alex Dunn, and he makes it work at La Source after a very sleepy first part of the race. These last 5 laps are going to be mega all the way, as now we've got a big push moving forward up the hill as Pepe Marti on fresh tyres goes for Ollie Goethe in the MP. Same livery, different teams, different tactics. And is Pepe Marti going to make his push here for Ollie Goethe? Goethe trying to defend. Marti's got the confidence on fresher tyres. Round the far side of Lake Carmi, almost threw it away.
Yeah, you have to be careful while trying to make these overtakes. You could lose positions. You could find yourself completely out of the order. So you have to be careful in these final few laps as you try and navigate your way through on all of these other drivers. But Dunn is there to capitalize. He's got himself up to 6. He now has to be really careful to try and make sure these points do stand and they do count, and he doesn't have any late drama in these final remaining laps of this race.
So Alex Dunn doing a very tough mission here behind Pepe Marti. If he can get ahead of Pepe Marti, then he is the box seat to storm his way through on those drivers who have weaker tyres, but he's still got 3.5 laps to make it count. Let's see how tough it was for Lindblad making that push on Shields. Well, Shields is about to drop like a stone through the field here. Watch this. Lindblad gets through. Shields compromises and then comes back across on his opponents as the Tridents work their way through that pack as well. And a big dive. That was full send for Alex Dunn. Look at that. What an overtake on Stanek.
That was committed. He's going down the inside no matter what was the approach down there. Meanwhile, this is Jack Crawford, who was diving to the inside and nearly making contact there with Dougson. Leonardo Fornaroli may not have the new tyres, but it's at the fastest lap. Now he goes to Beganovic, and they're all trading it further back in this field at the moment as we come across the line to begin lap number 16.
Ian Shields has dropped all the way to P12, and that was the man who was 5th. The top 4 are pretty much staying at it as Alex Dunn gets his move on Pepe Marti. That is incredibly crucial. Marty trying to come back at him. This is for the lead of the drivers that made the gamble to make new pit stops, and Marty gets back in front. Now they're going to go up to Radio, and this is where Dunn's really got to open up the tax. Watch for Roman Stanek as well. He wants to be the leader of the drivers on fresh tyres, but if they battle each other, they'll never catch Forneroli, Martin and Mini up front. They've got to be careful about how they play this. Dunn's going to try and go for broke, as Stanek goes round the outside. Stanek's going to get through past Alex Dunn instead. Excellent work from Roman Stanek.
Absolutely brilliant. Dunn put himself, or attempted to, down the inside, couldn't get there, and Roman Stanek says thank you very much and drives all the way around the outside with a super move there. Meanwhile, we're still battling, and Dino Beganovic looking left, looking right, up against Ritomo Miyata, but cannot get there at the moment, and he's kicking up the gravel as well in the background.
Big mistake to make right now for Beganovic. You do not want to be tripping over that gravel trap at this point in the race. You've got to stay committed. You've got to stay focused. Not a lot can be done if you're filthying up those tyres that you've only just boxed fresh for. So through Lafagna, and then they work their way up towards Blanchimont and Stavolo. Very tricky situation for all of the contenders in the move. Let's see if Forneroli is going to be able to hold on to this. To be fair to him, he's managed to pull 1.9 seconds on Martin since the restart. So Forneroli still looking like he's got race-winning pace here, even though he's on old tyres, making the gamble. If you want to go for the victory, then you may as well. But the four who've stayed out front on the old tyres have remained in front. Making that change to the tyre has not been as beneficial as the drivers were hoping for, because Forneroli, Martin, Mini and Olli Goethe have been able to make it work, as Beganovic picks up a 5-second time penalty for track limits. 2 to go.
Good to go indeed. So that's going to be disappointment for Beganovic, as he's going to find himself losing out on the chance to try get those higher points paying position, trying to get into the points even for Dino Beganovic. Is 2 seconds out in front, a further 1.5, and Goethe's going to be closing in.
Some joke, 2 more laps.
That's a very tough mask, even though it is Leonardo Forneroli in the lead. 2 more laps for him to go. Don't forget, he is with the Invicta Racing team. That is the squad that propelled Gabriel Bortoletto into Formula One with Kick Sauber this season. So this is an opportunity for the Invicta team to continue that bandwagon with their Italian youngster, Leonardo Forneroli, champion in F3 last year, despite winning nothing over the course of the season. But what an opportunity. And that is a stop car. That's Megatunith. Sami Megatunith, that's going to be a safety car finish, surely. Sami Megatunith, that car cannot be moved very easily from that particular point. They might be able to push it towards the marshal post, but I don't think they'll get there in time. I think this is going to be a safety car finish, and that's going to be Leonardo Forneroli for the win.
Yeah, I think that will be a safety car finish, unless they can do anything by the time they get there. Villa Gomez has got a safety car infringement, 5-second time penalty for that specific reason, and the safety car is going to be deployed. It will be deployed as well, and that is going to be it.
Well, Leonardo Forneroli is going to take his 2nd win in as many weekends. Absolutely incredible drive from Leonardo Forneroli. The opportunity was there. He was an absolute rocket ship off the grid. He played with the limits on safety car infringements, but he did what was necessary on the restart. He checked out from Victor Martin, and even though the smart money made it look as though going on to fresh tyres was the right call, Forneroli proved it was the wrong call.
Yeah, indeed. And Forneroli now will get to have a bit more of an easier lap to his win as well. Silverstone sprint race, it was a big moment for him to finally be able to get a win, but now he's going to try and make it a normal tradition. Will Forneroli, the Italian driver, he's about to go back-to-back in terms of sprint race victories.
Oh, yeah.
That's the international French sign language for I'm having a bad day. And Sami Megatunith, very unfortunate indeed for him. They just ran out of time to clear that car before a safety car was needed. And so we're on the last lap. We're under safety car.
Safety car. Keep calm, stay calm.
Gabriele Mini knows he's got a podium pretty much in his pocket here. He just needs to cruise round. But we've seen cars, haven't we, break down behind the safety car in the past. So whatever you do, don't count your chickens. They are not hatching yet.
Yeah, anything's possible in FIA Formula 2. We've seen stranger things happen, so it's all about getting this to the checkered flag and getting it to the result as well. Fornaroli on his way to the win. Martins will be happy with second place, but it will give him confidence heading into tomorrow that there could be some opportunities as well. And Alex Dunn, well, it won't be the most points ever, but it will still be more over his championship rival for him to try and close in the gap and get his championship back on track. He'll know heading into tomorrow that he has had a good day compared to Vashaw and also Crawford as well, and that will help him heading into the feature race, a very important feature race in this championship tomorrow.
Good to see some interesting tactics there on the gamble for fresh tyres. A few drivers opting to go for it. Only 5 drivers opting not to, but interesting that the drivers that were the real beneficiaries from doing so, Marti, Stanek, Dunn, and Ritamo Miata. That tells me again, this weekend that the Japanese driver really has it set up nicely here. I'm actually going to put him as a potential favourite to win the feature tomorrow. He's second on the grid alongside Alex Dunn. He could be a real dark horse for the win tomorrow.
Yep, and it would be his first ever win in Formula 2 if he can do it in what could be a wet race. But I've heard in Japan they're quite used to some wet weather racing, so he might be good at that. He might be good at that in case it doesn't rain tomorrow.
That's very true. He had an amazing drive in the wet at Sugo back in 2023, I seem to recall. So Miata will have no issues at all being quick in the dry at Spa and in the wet at Spa. But this is the big story. Leonardo Fornaroli, having been so smooth from the start, the way he launched out of the bolt like an absolute jackrabbit to go from the second row of the grid to take the lead into last source. He has led every lap since then. He's not been challenged by any of his all-comers, whether it be Amaury Cordili, whether it be Oliver Goethe, or whether it be the man in second place now, Victor Martin, but nobody was going to take victory at Spa from him. He went over 1,000 days without a win. He fixed it at Silverstone, and in the second weekend in a row, he takes a Formula 2 victory. Leonardo Fornaroli wins again, this time at Spa-Francorchamps. That one's going to mean so much to him. The Italian in first position in front of the Frenchman Victor Martin and the other Italian, Gabriele Mini. 3 drivers who are absolutely euphoric here at Spa.
Superb drive from them, and sometimes you just need to get the job done. They stayed out there, they kept track position, and they get their reward as they are the 3 drivers to get onto the podium as well. What a brilliant race. And Fornaroli, well, he won Formula 3's championship last year without winning a race, but I think he wants to do it the normal way this year. He wants to go for the Formula 2 title, and he wants to do it with some race wins, and he's really racking up points lately. So let's see whether he can continue this momentum as he's now got a second F2 win.
I mean, now that there are some relatively decent seats coming.
Yeah! Awesome job, mate. Awesome job. You had to work for this one, mate. Awesome.
Well, there are some potential seats on offer in Formula 1 next year. Let's not forget that. And if he goes from being a Formula 3 champion to a Formula 2 champion, I mean, he's third in the points. Fornaroli could suddenly put himself in the shop window for an F1 drive next year. It's possible.
Yeah, that is what Fornaroli is doing at the moment. And out of nowhere, sometimes drivers can just get themselves into these positions, but he's absolutely making it possible. If he can just continue like this, because this is a point where really the decision making is properly reaching the end, it's properly happening at the moment. So now they'll be seeing that, okay, he's taken 2 back-to-back wins, and if he continues even, for example, tomorrow and next week in Budapest, then that could be big for his Formula 1 goals as well. Let's hear from Mini.
P3.
Unbelievable, Jeff. Good job.
Yeah. Unbelievable, Jeff.
Loving it, loving the banter between the 2 men there. One behind the wheel, one on the pit wall. Unbelievable, Jeff. Yes, good stuff from those 2. But yeah, it's a sound argument now, isn't it? Leonardo Fornaroli, you know, considering he was a champion in F3 last year despite not winning a race, that tells you a lot about his consistency. And here he is, winning at Silverstone, winning at Spa. Suddenly, he has become a very hot property for 2026.
Oh! So happy, guys. So happy.
And not the least, of course, Omi, because of what that could mean for next year. All sorts of opportunities could open up. Formula One, IndyCar, World Endurance. So many chances could open up here for Leonardo Fornaroli. Don't forget, there's a few Formula E seats on the table.
Yep, and he was out there doing Formula E tests as well. So he's absolutely waiting for any opportunity to come his way. And we've seen drivers take this route. We saw Gabriel Bortoletto win with Trident in F3, go to Invicta, win with Invicta in F2. I mean, even Kamara, he's with Trident this year. Who knows? He could even try and follow this route. We're getting a bit of a, we are definitely getting a bit of a pattern here with drivers going from Trident in F3 to Invicta and trying to win. So it's a good route to go to, and it's a route even Freddie Slater's even having to consider a little bit with things that are swirling around as well as he prepares for a proper Formula 3 season next year. But yeah, it's really interesting, the driver market even in Formula 2 and Formula 3 with how all of it is unfolding right now.
I mean, it's worth pointing out, we talked about the Formula E connection. Why would a driver who's just won the Formula 3 title and is on course to potentially fight for the Formula 2 title consider Formula E? Well, there's one simple answer to that: the paycheck. The salaries in Formula E are so big for drivers of Leonardo Fornaroli's stature to consider. So if Formula One is a closed shop, why wouldn't you look at Formula E as a potential cash cow opportunity for a driver who's clearly got plenty of motivation, plenty of excitement and enthusiasm? Amazing. Leonardo Fornaroli went winless for over 1,000 days. Now he's a winner on 2 of the best race circuits in Formula One history: Silverstone and Spa. Have that.
Wow. What 2 circuits, and it's finally the moment where he's into the hands of the team, the Invicta team, who are getting to celebrate once again, and it's always special. It's always special for them as well as he goes into the hands of more people as well down there, and it's really nice to see all of these moments once the drivers have finished their races.
Papa Fornaroli gets his chance with Leo. Wonderful scenes down here. Good scenes as well for Victor Martin, the team very happy with him. Held on under a lot of pressure. That keeps Victor Martin's chances of the title alive with a very solid second place there. And Gabriele Mini, his second podium, I believe, in Formula 2. He'll be very delighted with that one, especially considering that this one is at Spa, which I know for a fact is a circuit he absolutely adores. It'll be so special. And that'll be one of the more happy and contented podiums of Formula 2 in recent times.
It will. You usually would get drivers disappointed that they couldn't go for the win or couldn't get second place, but today I think they all maximised their opportunity and they all took their opportunity as well, which is really, really nice to see, as Alexa Quintin down there guiding the drivers on what to do next as well down there, which Fornaroli, I'm sure he's going to become very used to this entire procedure because he's now racking up wins and podiums, being the consistent driver we know he can be, but also doing so on the top step, and is about to put the Italian national anthem in full force as well in a few moments time around this Spa circuit.
Wow, fantastic stuff. Really good work from Leonardo Fornaroli, who's becoming a real hot ticket now for the future. If you want to put a really strong Italian into your race team in the future, this man is not only consistent, not only capable of dealing with the pressure, but he's also lightning quick. This is a really strong talent to consider now for the future. Leonardo Fornaroli, remember the name. It's getting more and more powerful by the weekend. Exciting stuff all the way through. Really strong effort, though, Obi, from Leonardo Fornaroli, a driver who just keeps getting better all the time. I always thought he was ridiculously consistent last year. Now he's got the speed to match it.
Yep, now he's ticking off all of the different driver attributes at the moment, and yeah, that is why he is going to be a driver for everyone to keep an eye on because he's basically becoming the finished article. He is getting everything ticked off now, and he is becoming the complete driver, which is what every single team would want. Someone who can be consistent, someone who can get them to wins constantly, and someone who has such raw speed, especially when it came to qualifying. Earlier this year at Austria, Leonardo Fornaroli became the first repeat pole sitter as well. Of course, we've had a few more since, but at that moment in time, he became the first repeat pole sitter, so he knows how to do stuff, and he does a lot of stuff very well, which is why he is a perfect driver in so many different series and for so many different teams who will be keeping an eye on. And these fans who of course are about to watch this Formula 1 qualifying, in between getting to enjoy an F2 sprint and about to see Leonardo Fornaroli and himself along with Martins and Mini get themselves onto that podium, as well the teams who are all ready to look on to these celebrations.
Yeah, always very pleasant scenes when you've got so many great talents out there. But in Formula 2, you know you're so close to achieving your ultimate ambition. You know that you're in the same weekend as Formula 1. There's a good chance you'll put on a potentially better show than the Grand Prix itself. And if you can come through and win that, having had so much hard work leading up to that point, it's always a big feather in the cap. And there's something quite spectacular about the races in Formula 2, as we know. So for Leonardo Fornaroli to kind of silence the critics, there are a few people last year who may have suggested that Fornaroli didn't quite have the staying power to be a full core world champion, despite winning the title last year on points without winning a race. I think it's unfair. It's a kind of a quality that Fornaroli has been able to demonstrate here that doesn't always happen in junior single seater. You either get a win it or bin it mentality at this level, or you get just average opportunities. But Fornaroli's different from both of those stereotypes. He's the kind of guy who salvages those percentages, Omi. It was a very similar tack to a young Alain Prost when he was coming through. Knew exactly how to get the results when he needed them and when to fight, when to push. It seems that Fornaroli already has that same level of calculus on his side.
Yeah, and that is the main thing. He is not a driver who has the raw ability but sometimes can have those big major moments. Instead, he is someone who can get those consistent results, who can get those second, third, fourths, but also on his day can get those victories. Prema are a team as well like that who are trying to make their recovery back to the top. They were, along with ART, the powerhouses of Formula 2 really in the early years, and then ever since 2024 the new regulations came in. Both teams have been struggling and both teams have been trying their absolute best to recover back to where they were, but Prema always an outfit which you can rely on and a team that will give you a good opportunity come Formula 2 and Formula 3 racing as well.
Wondering what Prema were keeping an eye on there. Was it the race control panel to see whether any penalties were going their way or not? But yeah, fascinating to see how much hard work has gone in behind the scenes for all these teams. And there's a lot of love down at Invicta Racing, of course, because their boys come through for the victory. Gabriele Mini, third position. Great talent, great intellect as well. Delighted to be on the podium for the second time in Formula 2. I'm tipping him as a potential title favourite for 2026. There is your man, Victor Martin, still pushing for the championship in 2025, still hungry for more, still links to the Grand Prix grid through Williams now. So a good opportunity for him there in second place. But your winner, and rightly so, Leonardo Fornaroli, a man who will enjoy every single second of this. Excellent victory for him and the Invicta team. And another strong Italian. Isn't it amazing? You wait years for a big Italian who's Formula 1 ready. And then two come along at once. First Antonelli, now maybe Fornaroli as well. Wonderful scenes here for Leonardo Fornaroli, your winner in fantastic fashion for Invicta Racing. Sign of things to come for him, Omi. About the feature race tomorrow, though, that's going to be a really interesting battle, isn't it? Where we've got so many great talents going up at the front end of the field for that, none the least of which the battle to turn one between Alex Dunn and Ritamo Miata.
Yep. Rain in the air, who knows what's going to happen. It's been a dry weekend so far, but I feel like the rain might have just been coming down if I was looking correctly down there. So it's been a dry weekend so far, and so far might be quite literally in a few moments' time as well. But yeah, it could be quite wet tomorrow. I'm hoping we can definitely get a race in, but it's going to be very fascinating, and I'm sure it is going to be interesting to see how the drivers will fare, whether it's dry, whether it's wet. Formula 2 will deliver the goods.
Certainly will. It usually does, as the silverware goes to Leonardo Fornaroli and to Victor Martin and Gabriele Mini. That brings our coverage to the Formula 2 sprint on JB Motorsports to a close. Big thanks to Omi and to Josh Turner as well. Don't forget, we've still got plenty of live streams coming your way on JB Motorsports. They're currently underway for qualifying over on the second link, so do please go and have a look at that if you're able to. In about 60 minutes, of course, it'll be time for the Belgian Grand Prix qualifying session. Watch along. We'll be on for that as well. We've also got the Hungarian round of the World Superbikes coming up, and of course, we'll have free practice 2 and then qualifying later for the Laguna Seca round of IndyCar. There's also going to be Saturday qualifying at the Brickyard 400. Plenty to come from NASCAR, and of course the London E-Prix round 15 watch along as well. So much to get involved with. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. You'll never miss a moment of the action on JB Motorsports. From myself, Jake Sanson, from Omi, from Josh Turner producing, from all of us, thank you very much for being with us for the F2 sprint. We'll be back tomorrow with the F2 feature race, but of course there's still more to come this weekend from World Superbikes, from IndyCar, from NASCAR, from Formula 3, from Formula 1, from Formula E. So much to get engaged with. See us all in action over the course of the weekend. From me, Jake, and the rest of the team, we'll see you back for more F2 tomorrow. Bye for now.